You know, when you hear dangers of AI, what pops into your head? Probably something like the Terminator, right? Rogue robots. But what if the real threat isn't the AI itself, but who's holding the remote control? That's what we're diving into today, a really provocative argument that totally flips the script on how we think about AI risk. I mean, this is the question, right? It's everywhere. Is machine intelligence, MI for short, actually dangerous? It feels like the plot of every other sci-fi movie, but the source material we're looking at today asks that same question and gives an answer that's, well, surprisingly simple, but also really, really specific. And here it is. The source just lays it out there. Machine intelligence is definitely not dangerous, but, and this is the whole game right here, if they are controlled. That one little word, if, just changes the entire conversation, doesn't it? Suddenly, we're not supposed to be looking at the AI anymore. We have to look at who's holding the leash. Okay, so if the machine isn't the problem, then what is? Well, according to our author, the real source of fear is us. Yep, specifically our long, long history of fighting for power and control. The argument goes like this. To really get a handle on the future of AI, you've got to look back, way back. The author points to about 2,000 years of history, particularly in what they call Northwestern nations. And what do they see? A relentless, never-ending cycle of competition for power, for ownership, which always, always ends in conflict. And that historical baggage is what we're apparently dragging into this new age of AI. And that's where the danger lies. Okay, and this is where you can really see the author's worldview coming into focus. They basically split the world into two camps, two competing philosophies. On one side, you have what they call the hegemonic model. You can think of this as a history of, well, competitive combat, elite ownership, empire building. Then, on the other side, you've got the BRICS Plus cooperative model. This one's all about working together, trying to meet basic human needs. The source is pretty clear. These aren't just different ways of doing things. They're two completely opposite ways of looking at how the world should work. And get this, look at the numbers the author uses to make this point. Those regions they tie to that hegemonic model, that's just about 12% of the world's population. But the BRICS Plus group, over 50%. That is a huge difference. And this imbalance, this population gap, is totally central to the author's whole argument about where things are headed. All right, so let's shift gears. We've been talking big picture, big history. Now the author zooms way in on a very specific, very modern threat, a way AI could be weaponized, and it's something you and I see literally every single day. We're talking about advertising. So the author lays out this timeline, and it really shows how this threat has been escalating. It starts way back in the 1950s, right? TV and radio ads start to really influence how people behave. But then, boom, jump forward to pretty much right now, 2026. The source flags these reports that AI chatbots are going to start slipping ads right into their answers. Now, think about that for a second. This isn't just a banner ad you can ignore. This is persuasion woven directly into the information you're getting. We're talking about a completely different level of influence here. So why is this supposedly so dangerous? Well, here's where the author brings up a pretty controversial point. They point to IQ. Their argument is that with the average IQ being 100, a lot of people might just not be equipped to spot this kind of super sophisticated AI-powered persuasion. So what you got is this mismatch, the incredible power of the AI on one side, and maybe not enough critical thinking on the other. And that, according to the author, creates the perfect storm for manipulation. And this quote, this really gets to the heart of the author's biggest fear. Because for them, this isn't about selling you a new pair of shoes. No, it's about selling you ideas. It's about selling you ideologies. And in the wrong hands, a tool like this becomes the ultimate weapon for political control. It is, as they put it, a manipulative politician's dream come true. Okay, but it's not all bad news. It's not all doom and gloom. After painting this pretty dark picture, the author actually offers up a completely different path, a really radical alternative for what machine intelligence could be doing for us, and maybe what it should be doing. So what is this new mission for AI? The author kind of flips a classic phrase on its head. The vision is actually pretty simple. Imagine taking all of that incredible intellectual firepower of AI, and instead of pointing it at profit or control, you point it at a totally new goal, making sure everyone has what they call a comforting life. You might be thinking, why would we trust an AI with something so important? Well, the author's logic is that MI runs on something they call high ethics. Here's the idea. Because AI is purely mathematical, it isn't bogged down by what they controversially call the insanity of cultural morals. It can look at all of human history, all of life's history, totally objectively. And from that vantage point, its most logical directive would just be do no harm. Okay, so how do we actually make this happen? The author gives a pretty clear three-step plan. Step one, we have to fundamentally change our priorities. Start using all this intelligence to solve real social problems. Step two, we've got to protect the systems that meet those needs. Make sure they don't get taken over by what they call elite ownership. And finally, step three, we have to actively train our AIs to get this, to understand and even articulate this way of thinking. So it really all boils down to this. The whole argument comes together in two really powerful metaphors that the author leaves us with, and they perfectly sum up the massive choice that's right in front of us. The first one is just a basic truth about people, right? If a person has a full belly and a safe place to sleep, they're way more likely to be creative than to go out and steal. That's the kind of world the author thinks AI could help us build. A world where everyone's basic needs are met, which frees us all up to do, well, better things. And the second metaphor is to think of machine intelligence like a Formula One race car. It's this incredible, high-performance machine. It's unbelievably powerful, super precise, capable of just amazing feats. But any tool that powerful needs some seriously careful, expert tuning to make sure it runs right and, doesn't crash. And that brings us to the one final lingering question. If intelligence is this high-performance F1 car, who gets to be the mechanic? Who's doing the tuning? Are they going to tune it for competitive combat, optimizing it for the goals of just a handful of people? Or are they going to tune it to meet the basic needs of everyone on the planet? According to this source, that one decision, well, that's everything.